Welcome to First and Goal, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Get ready for the latest and hottest topics in the SML. Let's get started. Here's your host, Mad Bomber.
Welcome to this week's episode of First and Goal. This week we've got Primetime 000. We've got Fazz straight off his Super Bowl championship. I don't know why he just
snapping
snapped.
Prime out of here.
Then we've got Dump Extreme Close Up, and we've got the Pastor Dan, and we've got them on the same side of the screen. We may have to separate them before the show ends, though. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
Doing good, Bob. We're doing
All
good.
right.
You're looking good, by the way. Looking good tonight. Looking good.
All right, well, here we go. We're gonna start.
Ready.
We're gonna start off with topic number one, and we're gonna actually start with Dan on this one because the topic is, why was this such a quiet offseason? And Dan, we'll start with you since you're the only one that made a move this offseason.
Yeah, I think it was pretty quiet because the top teams are pretty much set in who they have. I mean, you know, when you get over 85, it's hard to trade. You can't trade players, and so a lot of those top teams have their guys set, and so they're not looking to reload. In the past, they were with younger draft picks, but because there's only 2 seasons left, there's just not a good return. So, you know, I know you were trying to get rid of Mac, and people just didn't understand his value. So I just think the teams that are at the top are not looking to trade, and then you know, bottom teams just aren't really figuring out like what should they do, and you know, hoping they're going to hit a home run in the draft, and it's just never going to happen. So.
All right, Prime, what do you think it led to this quiet offseason?
Yeah, part of it is the elite teams. They've dialed back the movement, which a lot of times in the league.
Backwards.
It's
backwards.
Dang
It's
it.
backwards, you dummy.
Did you seriously just show the backside of the paper? That's
I did.
a negative 3 points.
We're in there.
Oh, crash
So-
and burn.
So
We'll have a second shot at it. Don't worry.
anyway, after Fazz, I'm not a big Fazz fan, guys. I just don't like Fazz. Anyway, I think late in the cycle, people aren't as excited to make moves, though. I think that it just comes with the natural slowdown of the Madden cycle. Plus, we had a really short off season. I think it was like a 2-day off season.
Yeah.
Last off season, we had a thank you Mike off season. It was like 5 days long, and everybody wanted to crucify me. So we made it quick. We expedited it. We made it efficient, and it worked. And the asking prices on trades went way up, and guys just didn't want to move guys. So combination of things.
Okay, Faz, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely a combination. The fast off season was part of it. I missed the whole thing. So you know, I couldn't even make a move if I wanted to.
We skipped the whole thing.
I think the biggest thing is just that, you know, kind of like what Dan said. I think most of the top teams are set. You know, the top playoff teams, the guys who, you know, win playoff games. You know, we've got our teams. We're ready to go. Okay, Prime. Yeah. So, you know, we're good to go. And then I think all the other teams, it's just a combination of like, really, what are you going to get trading? You know, in the draft, trading for picks. Like, you're not going to be able to develop these guys by the time they're actually going to be good enough to make a move. The cycle is going to be over. So, you know, there isn't a whole lot of gain to be had there.
All right, Dump, what do you think?
You know, well, the teams at the bottom are checked out for the cycle. We're towards the end. They put a fork in it. You know, stab it in there. All right, they're done. They're not looking to make moves. They're just going to coast through the end. Probably lose a few eval points, but it doesn't matter because they're bad anyway. So there's always going to be bad. The teams at the top have great teams. They're set. You know, the best teams in the league have found the right algorithm to pick the right players, and that's why that was the only one that made a move. You know, there was a 5'9" corner on the block that the game favors, so he's a little faster. He can, you know, cheese a little bit more different things. It's math, you know, so that's it.
There's a 5'9" corner out of Utah State that Utah State really makes a difference in the jump ball animations Dan discovered in his 30 hours of corner studying.
I mean, it's hilarious that you both would say that because the two guys that probably know the least about Madden, even though you're good at it, would recognize that I didn't even pick up a 5'9". I actually picked up a 6'3" guy. So come on, guys, like do a little bit better on your research there. Come on, come on.
Your research.
I think it more has to do with
corners.
if their weight ends in an odd number. But
Yeah.
all right, topic 2. So you talked kind of about the playoff teams are set and the bottom teams are they're set too as being bottom teams. But what separates a top and a bottom team? I mean, it's just some button presses. What's the difference between, the top of the league and the bottom of the league? Prime, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Try this
question.
again real quick.
All of us here are really good players, except for maybe Dump consistently. And here's what separates the great from the good or the average. Here's what separates Dan from maybe somebody like Matt. And it's just like Tom Brady in the NFL. Tom Brady doesn't have the biggest arm like Elway, or he's not the most accurate like Breeze, and he's not a cerebral assassin quite like Peyton was. And Dan doesn't have the best user in the league, in my opinion. And Dan maybe not even have the best running game in the league like other guys like Dump. But at the end of the day, you don't press, and Brady never presses, or most of the time he doesn't press. He always just made the right play at the right time to find a way to get the win. And whether it's a 10-point game or a 30-point game, that's how he does it. That's how I do it most of the time. That's how Fazz does it most of the time. That's how Dump does it some of the times. And I think that's what separates us guys against maybe a guy who goes 7-9.
Okay. Fazz, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's all just decision making. You called it just a couple button presses. Sometimes knowing when not to press the button is a better skill than being able to press it. You see so many guys, we've talked about this with, somebody gets the ball, with 25 seconds left in the half. And, instead of trying to go for the big play, forcing a pick and, running it back or, allowing Dalvin Cook to run 75 yards for a touchdown, you got to know when to not do that. You have to know when to even be able to make the tackle on the sidelines instead of getting your ankles broke.
Pursuit angles.
Pursuit angles. Yep. You got to get those pursuit angles better. Instead of seeing your safety run into the sidelines. Or, instead of throwing that pick six that all of a sudden now you're down, 14 instead of down 7. I think that's really all it comes down to is just that decision making and knowing when to make the right play.
All right, Dump, what do you think?
No doubt, decision making is a factor. That's why I'm so up and down. Sometimes I'm aggressive, sometimes I'm smart, and I'm really good. Sometimes a little bit of both, and it works out. But another thing is just knowing the game. Yes, we are a sim league and we play style, but you can't do all the same things in real life. You have to know Madden. If you look behind Dan, there's a stack of books, and they're all about Madden. He knows. Right? See all that research he does? It takes his time to knowing the game. You know how the game works. You can make good decisions. You're going to be a great player. If you don't know how the game works and you're just chucking it downfield, play after play after play, it's probably not going to end good.
All right.
And that's my TED Talk.
All right, Dan, what do you think? What separates you from Figs?
The thing that everyone said already, but just think of it just as simple as turnovers. Okay, those who don't turn the ball over usually have a better chance of winning. Same thing in Madden. So if you're not a good player, just focus on not turning the ball over and try to get turnovers. I like the old saying that the pen is mightier than the sword. In Madden, the mind is mightier than the stick skills. So that's the difference between someone like Dump and myself. He might be able to do 8,000 juke moves and spin moves. He might be able to, run his running back for 4,000 yards. But when it comes to when it matters the most, when it comes to can he make the play on third down? Can he get a stop somewhere in the playoffs? Well, we can see what has happened so far. So that's what it really comes down to is the mind is mightier than the stick skills.
All right. So topic number 3, and we'll start with you, Faz, this time. What team or owner has exceeded expectations? Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be just wins and losses. I mean, any aspect of the league, basically, where they've exceeded expectations. Who's your guy?
So I've got 2 here. One of them, I'm gonna give him a pat on the back. He's developed somewhat of a rough reputation when it comes to scheduling. But it's okay because DW is my boy in chat. I love the polls. Honestly, I look forward to them every playoffs. Polls. I love looking for that message. I keep track and watch every single one of them, and that's how I knew that Figs picked me to lose in pretty much every playoff game. So I love seeing that from DW. My other guy, and I'm kind of cheating here. This is a guy I kind of brought to the SML myself. It's easy to ignore Prime when I'm sitting here 3-0 in the cycle and 1-0 in bowls. But my other guy is Clink. I brought him here. I knew he was a solid player. He hasn't really shown that quite yet. He's done a little better. But I've loved seeing Clink step up into commentary. I just wanted to give him a shout out. I thought he did a great job with Field commentating that Super Bowl, and I definitely want to see him do a little bit more of that in the future there. So just wanted to give a shout out to him and DW for this one.
All right, Dump. Who's your guys or guy that exceeded expectations?
I'm gonna say my boy Rowan Cutt. Just from a gameplay standpoint and having Giants. Well,
oh man, when did this happen? Oh man, jeez.
Gameplay standpoint.
Oh, okay.
He's stepped it up a little bit. Last year, very great. Been solid, made some plays. All right, next.
All right, let's go to Dan.
Wow, man. Phew. Wasn't expecting Rowan to come out like that, but all right. Yeah, man, I want to give a few shout outs to some guys. I really love what Matt's been doing lately. Not just necessarily in his gameplay, but just being in chat, being a guy that's constantly engaging conversations, dialogue, and throwing his 2 cents in there. I think he does a good job. Finn's, just part of the league. I think he's been doing a good job with that too. As far as gameplay, I'm right with Dump and Rowan Cutt. I think he took a big step last year. Started to really change around the cycle. It started out kind of quick for him. Everything was kind of a blur, and his dad was excited. He was excited. Everything was going really well, and then he hit a really lull for a few seasons. But this past season, he picked it up. So good job, Rowan. Keep it up, man, and hopefully make some noise in the NFC.
All right, Prime. How about you?
Yeah, I actually wrote down Coop. I think that Coop is drafted well, and he's done a great job building his team, despite not really making the playoffs, really at all this cycle, I don't think. And as everybody kind of knows, to have a great team, if you didn't start off with a great team, it's kind of tough to build a team without winning. And he's drafted well defensively. He even recently drafted a quarterback who, while isn't an X factor, I think he drafted just a solid quarterback. Obviously, I think he could have been a playoff team earlier this cycle. If he would have fed Henry a little bit more, he could still probably do that. And I think I know we get some complaints out of Coop, but he typically isn't around this late in cycles in a league. So, he's exceeded my expectations that what are we in, almost June now?
Yep.
And he's still here. Despite him hating me for not being in Discord, and despite him hating Madden, he's still here, and that's worth something.
And don't forget that 5th round pick you simmed on him.
Oh, and I accidentally skipped his pick one time. Dude, that was bad.
All right. So topic 4, since we talked about guys that exceeded expectations, next up is biggest disappointments. And Dan, let's just start with you.
Oh, man, this is a great question. I love this question. This is wonderful. So there's been a little chatter. I don't know if some of you guys picked it up in the main chat. This guy just kind of started throwing some shots at me. I made one comment about his playoff record, and all of a sudden he started taking shots at me. And I get it, because I know what it's like. I remember my time in prison once where they told you, hey, as soon as you walk into the cafeteria, you go and find the biggest, the baddest, the meanest, the toughest guy, and you just start swinging at him. So I get why Dump did that. I get why Dump started swinging at me. But Dump, man, I got to call you out, dude. You're the biggest disappointment. You are 1-6 in playoffs. 1-6. Every owner that's in this group right now, every owner that's here, Prime, he has 8 wins. Bomber, he has 8 wins. Fazz has 10 wins. I got 11 wins. We got 3 Super Bowls represented here. We got championship games represented here. You got one of the top teams in Madden to start, and you're 1-6, dude. 1-6. Okay. I appreciate the swing. I appreciate you coming after me, but you got QP, you got D Muse, you got now Rowan, you got Meats, you got those guys to worry about. Don't worry about me, man. Don't worry about me. You got a long time coming before you got to worry about me. Take care of those guys first.
All right. So now obviously we've got to go to Fazz. What's your take?
So mine, I'm calling out 2 other guys from the.
You didn't go to
NFC
Dump?
here.
How can you not go to Dump?
Oh, I want to give him time to come up with a good rebuttal.
Okay.
Give him time to prepare. He does need time to prepare for big moments here.
Someone else don't.
I don't know if he's starting anything. Anyway, I'm going to stick with 2 guys in the NFC. One of them, and this is because I have a reputation to keep up. Thanks, Prime. My guy Meats. Struggling. Obviously, you've got unbelievable team. They've only gotten worse since you started with them. They've not developed well. The offense has just gotten downright kind of ugly, to be honest with you. Outside of Kyler Murray running around in the backfield, not a whole lot going on offensively. Season 1, you got the big win over Kirk Cousins. That was, impressive. I'll give you that. Blown out in the Super Bowl. And then I believe he said that he'd be back. Did he mean like the second round of the playoffs? Because has he won a playoff game since then? I'm not really sure.
Oh,
it's
man.
ugly. The other guy is Grams, and this is because Grams, been my boy in a couple leagues now. Always see him, always like playing him, have good games with him. I've been in his division a bunch of times. I don't think he's won a playoff game. I think he's only been in 2. Since I've been here, I was just hoping to see a little bit more out of him. He had the NFC East, early before Q was there, before Clink was there. Rowan was still struggling coming along, so that would have been the time to really make a run. And haven't seen anything out of Grams, so I would like to see a little more from him. Go back to the Grams Fazz playoff games of old, early SBS before Nathan kicked my butt.
All right, Prime, biggest disappointment.
Yeah, I think that Grams at the end of last cycle started trailing off. And who was coughing? Was that Dan?
Yep.
You gotta stop. You gotta stop drinking that milk, there, bub. Anyway, and then this cycle, Grams has had a great Cowboys team, and he still came up short. So he's a little bit of a disappointment for me. And honestly, I think Raider fans a disappointment. I know that I don't really expect him to make the playoffs, especially in that division with Dan, with Future, even with DW, who is a very respectable player. I expect him to be a little more competitive because he talks about having this football mindset and having football knowledge, and then he plays this game, and he's been playing the same game for as long as I have, which is over 10 years. So you would think at some point he would know, like, okay, I can't throw this post route, and he still does it. And how many times are you going to touch the oven and burn your hand before you say, I can't touch the oven? And that's what he's doing. And he's got Mahomes, he's got Hill, he's got whoever else is on that team, at least offensively, and he still finds a way to come up short. And I think that's my biggest disappointment is Raider fan. There's a lot of guys in this league who are really good players, and I don't expect you to make the playoffs. But find a way to channel your inner calmness and not blame Madden as much.
Okay. And I think that's just about everybody. So we're done. Oh, Dump. We didn't hear from you yet.
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you.
I'm going to take the high road. I'm going to save my 30 seconds about Dan for the end. All right? I'll admit.
That's a bold strategy.
Most disappointing person this cycle has been myself because I was regarded as probably the top guy coming into the cycle. I had high expectations, and I haven't delivered. So I got to play smarter and use my brain. Lay off the smelling salts and make smart decisions, and I'll be in there and learn how to play a little defense. My second one, and I hate to do this. I'm sorry, Bomber, but I need a similarity out of you. You're too skilled and you have too good of a team not to get it. That's not a shot. It's just the truth. My boy, and I expect big things. I need a Simbardi. I know you can do it. You've been close. It's your time.
All right. Well,
Wow.
That's a bold strategy for trying to get your 30 seconds. Holy
Yeah,
that is a bold strategy, and it appears that it has worked. Dump has 55, Prime with 54, Fazz 50, Dan 42. So, Dump, these 30 seconds are all yours.
All right, Dan. I got Dan. I'm about to fry your ass. I got to kill it because I'm about to cook your shit. I got this can of Grizzly because I'm about to dip in those cheeks. I got this Bud Light because I'm about to open up a can of whoop ass. Let's not forget, you've beat me one time since you've entered the league, and I blew a 17-point lead. It won't happen this time. I'll see you in week 12.
Bring it, big boy, bring it.
All right.
I'm ready for you.
So he pretty much guaranteed to win in week 12. We'll probably bring Dump back before that so we can get him to double down on that. But and it looks like we lost Prime just in time for the end. So
Prime's hamster gave up.
Yep. The internet gave up. But that's going to do it for this week's First and Goal. Appreciate you guys being on, and looking forward to that week 12 matchup with Dan and Dump. Till next week, this has been First and Goal.
Thanks for listening to First and Goal. Be sure to check out Mad Bomber TV on Twitch and YouTube for the latest from the SML. And we'll see you next time on First and Goal.